our today's expert, Dr. Mamta Pillai. Madam is the head Department of Languages, Indus University, Ahmedabad. She trains aspiring teachers by using her extensive knowledge in the domain of ELT through the Master of Arts program at Indus University. Her research interest includes linguistics and writing with special focus on developing writing skill. She completed her BA English and MA English with functional English specialization from St. Xavier's Ahmedabad. Then she worked on her MPhil at HMPIETR Institute of English Training and Research, Vallabhvidyanagar, where she focused on identifying and treating mispronounced vowels and consonants. She received her PhD for her doctoral research in the domain of improving writing skills. She has 15 research papers presented and published to her credit in national and international conferences and journals. She recently selected for TKT training and certification by AICTE Delhi to 20 other workshops, faculty development programs and seminars. She was awarded for outstanding contribution towards university development and advancement of soft skill development program by the university. She is an active member of Women's Development Cell, Communication and Media Department and extracurricular activities at her university, while also serving as a key member in the Board of Studies of English and Communication. Madam recently appointed as the in-charge Dean of Extension Department at her university, where she is responsible for setting up intensive training program for students, faculty members, and industry people. So it's a privilege to have you, madam, in this expert session. Over from my side, the session is yours.
Please unmute, ma'am.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Rohit sir. Thank you very much indeed for a very kind introduction. Uh, at the onset, I would just like to say that it's kind of a homecoming feeling, as in when I have to take sessions with HM Patel Institute. I did my MPhil, as you clearly mentioned in my introduction. I did my MPhil way back in 2009 from HM Patel, and I really thank Dr. N.B. Bose, sir, who has been gracious enough to invite me every year, and my husband as well, to conduct sessions on ELT for the institute. And I'm indeed grateful to you, sir. Sir, if you are here, thank you very much. Last year, I think it was physical meeting with the students in the campus. But this year, sadly, we are meeting online. But nonetheless, I'll try and do justice to the topic which is given to me. And with the students, I would want to say that if you can turn on your cameras for a while we talk, because it's a kind of a weird feeling if I have to talk to the screen with just a black square written with a name on it. So if possible, those of you who can turn on the videos, and if I'm able to see it, that would be great, because the session, the next 1 hour, 1.5 hours would be a little interactive along with the input from my end. And I would also want that the worksheets, I hope Rohit sir or Gloria sir would have mailed you or WhatsApp you the worksheets. Sir, could I please request you to WhatsApp them the worksheets that I've mailed, so that we can start with the session. May I have the students? I mean, can I see the students on the screen? Have you switched on your videos? So see, the problem is that I'll not be able to see your chat because if I'm not a member of Microsoft team, I'm not be able to see your chats. So as and when I ask you questions and interact with you, you are free to unmute yourself and answer. Is it good enough, students?
Yeah.
Yeah, who was that?
That is Siddharth, madam. Siddharth is a student in
સિદ્ધાર્થ.
ILT.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Sorry.
જ્યારે પણ હું તમને તમારી જોડે વાત કરું તો પ્લીઝ છે ને don't hesitate, and if I'm going very fast, let me know. I will change the language or I change my pace. It's just that the session is going to be a little interactive, so I would want responses more so because we are meeting online. It is very difficult to not have you guys in front of us, in front of me. But please interact as and when the activity starts. Is that okay? Right. So, sir, have you mailed them the worksheets?
I have posted in the WhatsApp group.
Okay. All
I
right.
can
All right.
access.
All right. So great, sir. Thank you so much. So as the sir has already WhatsApped you the worksheet, so before I begin with the session, I would want you to do this small, activities. Starting with small two activities, we will do, and then we will move on to the topic for today. Right. So if you can just open the first worksheet in front of you on your mobile phones, on your desktops, wherever you are. તમે પ્લીઝ તમારી ફર્સ્ટ વર્કશીટ ઓપન કરો. The first worksheet will say, read the brochure of expert sessions in ELT and answer the given statements as true, false or not given. બરોબર છે? એટલે sentences you have been given and you have to identify true, false and not given through looking at the flyer. Now you also will have to open the complete flyer, the document which says expert sessions in ELT complete flyer. जो flyer तुमको दिया गया है ना, ये पूरे वीक लॉन्ग वर्कशॉप के लिए जो फ्लायर बनाया गया है, वो फ्लायर आपको ओपन करना है. ठीक है, એ ઓપન કરવાનું છે અને તમારી વર્કશીટ ઓપન કરવાની છે, વર્કશીટ 1. ઓકે, have we got access to both? Have you opened both the documents? I would want the student to answer on behalf of the entire fraternity of students. Have you opened it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Very, very good, very good. Thank you so much. So see, in the flyer, if you go, that is, you will have to read that flyer and you have to answer this question. Now, first I will do it for you. First and second we will do together. So first I'll do. See, the expert sessions are using Zoom platform. Okay. So you have to go to the flyer and you have to say that, yeah, of course, it is false because it's very clearly written that it's Microsoft Teams and not the other platform, right? Second statement is Dr. NV4 sir is the IQAC coordinator of HMPIETR.
False.
False. Very good. So you know the drill, right? So now you just do that. I'll give you a couple of minutes, maybe 3 minutes to complete all the 10 questions. So take 3-4 minutes and complete all the 10 questions and then we will start discussing. All right. So how much ever you would have completed, it's okay, right? If you have not completed the entire worksheet, that is fine. But let's start discussing it now. Are you guys ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. Thank you. So if you could please take your name also, it would be great to remember you with your name and addressing you with your name. So okay, the first two answers we've already covered, those are false. Now what about the third one? Who would want to go with for the third one? One by one we can take chances. The third is a total of 12 sessions will be organized. True or false?
Ma'am,
Hello. Yes.
false, ma'am.
Third one is false. Very good. Okay, how many sessions are to be organized in this particular evening?
There are 14.
Absolutely. What is your name?
Sandeep.
Sandeep. Great, Sandeep. Thank you so much. So please take your name while you answer your questions. All right. Number 4. 4 of the resource persons are from HMPIETR Institute of English Training and Research. Who's going next? After Sandeep.
True. This is necessary, Raval, ma'am.
Just the first name again.
Nursery.
All right. So is it true or false?
True.
True. Very good. So 4 resource people are from HM Patel indeed in this particular workshop. Very good. But now I would want you to go to the second worksheet. Please open the second worksheet, which says it is a weekly schedule planner. Okay. And on the same lines, you also open the expert session ELT final day wise schedule. So I want you to open the schedule, and I also want you to open worksheet 2. Have you guys opened it?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. All right. Thank you. So now take a look at worksheet 2. Now what does worksheet 2 say? वर्कशीट 2 में बोला गया है कि वीकली स्केड्यूल प्लानर दिया गया है डे वाइज, ठीक है, 10th जून से लेके तुम्हारा जो 17 जून तक, ठीक है. नाउ यू व्हाट यू हैव टू डू इज इंडिविजुअली in the worksheet you have to take a look at the expert schedule also that is given to you. All right, and I want you to find out, take a look at the full schedule, and you have to see how many lectures will a student miss attending. All right, કેટલા lectures students ના miss થશે attend કરવા માટે day wise જો એ weekly planner પ્રમાણે જઈએ તો. I repeat, how many lectures will a student miss attending in this particular workshop depending on the schedule given and the weekly schedule planner of the student. Okay, day wise. So you have to find out at the end of 10 minutes. I'll give you 7 to 10 minutes to complete this. Right, individually please take a look at both the documents, worksheet 2 and schedule, and find out how many lectures will a student miss attending in this workshop. And worksheet is weekly schedule planner. तो समझ लो, assume कर लो कि ये student का weekly schedule planner है, उसने उसमें ये लिखा है और कितने lectures वो उसका miss होगा attend करने का depending on the planner. Are the instructions clear? Nirjari, what are we supposed to do in this? Could you please repeat for me?
Ma'am, sorry to say, but I'm also a bit confused about second worksheet, what we have to do.
Okay. Sandeep, would you want to explain to the class what we are supposed to do in this? All right, I'll repeat myself. Take a look at worksheet 2. It's called a weekly schedule planner. Okay, वो एक स्टूडेंट का वीकली शेड्यूल प्लानर है और आपको आपकी नजर शेड्यूल पे भी रखनी है that in the schedule which is given to you, how many lectures will a student miss attending this particular workshop. ठीक है, पूरे ये वीक का जो वर्कशॉप है वो डे वाइज में क्या उसको कौन सा लेक्चर वो अटेंड नहीं कर पाएगा वो आपको वीकली प्लानर के हिसाब से बताना है. अब समझ में आया? See, for example, I'll do one example for you. 10th June, 10 a.m. bank, opening bank account, 2:30 p.m. vaccine, 4 p.m. paying $30 for international webinar. This is the plan for 10th June by a particular student. Worksheet 2, it's a daily planner of a student. Okay. હવે શું કરવાનું છે આમાં કે તમારે ડેલી પ્લાનર ની સામે જોવાનું છે. વીકલી શેડ્યુલ પ્લાનર is it's of a student and you have to take a look at the schedule also, all right, which is given of your own program that is running. You have to identify how many lectures will a particular student miss out on attending through in this workshop based on the weekly planner which is there. So for example 1, पहला मैं आपके लिए करके देती हूँ. 10th जून पे 10 AM को बैंक में जाना है उसको ओपन करने के लिए अकाउंट. 2:30 PM वैक्सीन लगाने जाना है. 4 PM पे करना है $30 फॉर इंटरनेशनल वेबिनार. So this is the schedule for this day of this particular student. Now, would he be able to go to the, will he be able to attend the lecture on the 10th of June? The answer would be no. He cannot attend the 2:30 a.m. 2:30 p.m. session because he has to go for a vaccine. You realize? 10 तारीख को जो लेक्चर है स्नेहा बजाज मैम का वो अटेंड कर पाएगा स्टूडेंट?
No, ma'am, we got it.
You understood, right? नहीं कर पाएगा, right? So that is what you have to
Yes,
identify whether the student will be able to attend. How many lectures will the student will be missing out on? Okay. So now first one I have done for you. You have to do it for the rest of the planner. Okay, day-wise planning. Please, I will give you 7 minutes to complete this individually. Take 7 minutes and complete for each day. Is that clear?
Okay, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. I hope you would have covered a couple of daily planner. It's not required that you complete the all the days. It was just to give you a rough idea about where we are headed in for the topic. So stop doing the activity right now and just take up the first second, and then I will move on to the next part of the session. All right. So the first one I did for you. What about the second one? Nirzari, Sandeep? If you were to write something in the chat box, I'll not be able to check it. So it's better that you unmute yourself and talk. All right. What about the second one?
Would be able
11th
to join this ELT session.
11th June, will the student be able to join the session or not? 11th June का session attend कर पाएगा कि नहीं?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a unanimous yes from everybody. All right.
Yes.
All right. What about 12th one? 12th June.
Yes.
No.
Would he be able to attend? मयूर सर का लेक्चर, हाँ 12th जून को जो लेक्चर है वो अटेंड कर पाएगा अकॉर्डिंग टू द प्लानर?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, very good. All right. What about the 14th?
No.
No. All right. What about the 15th?
No.
15th also no. All right. 16th?
Yes.
All right. So great. So I think I'll stop the activity. I would want to stop the activity right now. And okay. So in the first and in the second activity that we did, you are absolutely right in what you did. Most of you had all the answers correct, right? So to conclude these two worksheets, or to conclude this, I would want to ask you this. Can someone tell me from the class itself that which right now what we spent nearly half an hour once we started 2:15, nearly half an hour we spent on two activities. What do you think is the skill that we focused on in these two activities? Can somebody tell me? Skill मतलब LSRW, that is listening, speaking, reading and writing में से तुम लोगों ने क्या किया अभी?
Reading.
Obvious, very good. Who is this? Nizari.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so very good, Nizari. So what we did right now was reading skills. All right. But how did we do reading skills? See, when we conceptualize reading skills, or when we say reading skills, there was no textbook which was given to you. There was no chapter from the textbook or a storybook which was given to you to do the reading. All I gave you, guys, right now for this particular activity of nearly half an hour, two activities, was only a 2-page brochure and a 2-page flyer with the worksheets. That's about it. And that is what authentic material is all about. Okay. It is about the skills also, and it is also about, you have to look in the environment, in and around the environment that you are in, and you have to figure out what is that in my environment which is readily available that I can convert it into material. And that is the topic for today's discussion, that is authentic material. So what is authentic material? This 2-page brochure can be considered as the authentic material. Do you understand? So the skill that you have used right now for this particular activity was scanning. ठीक है, तुमने जो टेक्निक अपनाई है वो स्कैनिंग किया है. जो 2 डॉक्यूमेंट्स आपको दिए गए हैं आप लोगों ने उसको स्कैन करके रीडिंग किया है. So looking at the brochure, looking at the schedule, and then cross checking the information, whether whether it is feasible or not, whether the answer should be fit in or not. All of this are considered to be the real life skills that you would need, your students would need in the future, and hence it is considered as authentic. All right. So the entire purpose of authentic materials is to take the things in and around you and convert them into something that can be used in the classroom. Everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. તો તમારી
Yes, ma'am.
એન્વાયરમેન્ટમાં જે વસ્તુઓ છે એને તમે કેવી રીતે યુઝ કરીને તમારા સ્ટુડન્ટ્સને તમે આપી શકો છો. ઓકે, so how well you are able to convert it. So we have taken the 2 examples right away at the start of the session. We will take a few more examples during the session also, but that I will do with the help of some theoretical framework also, just to give you a rough idea about what is authentic material. So I'll start with the theoretical portion with few examples, and then again in the end I would like to leave you with an activity which you can do it on your own. All right. So for this I would share my screen, and please let me know once the screen is visible, PPT is visible on your screens. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
All right, guys, is the PPT slide visible on your screens?
Yes, ma'am, visible.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am, it is visible.
Thank you so much. All right. So, what is authentic material? Can anybody tell me from what I just said right now? What did you understand by the
May I,
word
ma'am?
authentic material? Yes, yes.
Authentic material is any material written in English that was not created intentionally for English language teaching, but later on we can convert it to English language teaching for the students.
Absolutely, absolutely right. What is your name?
Nursery.
Nirjari. Okay. All right. So Nirjari, you have a pretty long definition to give of authentic material. So Nirjari is absolutely correct. So what I said is that you have to look around your environment and you have to figure out from what immediate things which are available in my environment, that can I convert that into a material for my language skills. That is called authentic material, which we did with the activities also. So let me start with this passage. So just take a look at this passage for a minute. Has this slide changed on your screen as well?
Ma'am, I cannot
Yes.
see the slide.
Yes, ma'am.
It has changed, right? It is a reading activity and it has got a paragraph written. Can you see it now?
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
All right.
Yes.
So take a look at this passage. Ali and Bashir are brothers. Every morning they get up at 5 o'clock and wash their hands and face. They have their breakfast at 6 o'clock. They have an egg, a banana for breakfast. They had an egg and banana for their breakfast yesterday morning. They are having an egg and banana for their breakfast this morning, and they will have an egg and a banana for their breakfast tomorrow morning. Now, can anybody tell me what is the what you did previously as a reading activity, and what we will do with this activity? What is the difference? I mean, this paragraph can also become a reading activity because it's grammatically correct, right? Grammatically, koi error છે આમાં? Nothing. But can you tell me the difference between what we did with the brochure activity and what is with this activity? Can somebody guess the difference? This can also, yes, Nirjari.
In brochure, we need to look at the detail and each and every word we need to read. But right now, if we read it from like just at one glance, we can answer the questions.
Absolutely, right. So the basic difference
May I,
here
ma'am?
was, yes, please.
Yeah, Sandeep here, ma'am.
Yes, Sandeep.
Content are different, ma'am. First
Con-
was information, and the second one is the story.
Second one is the story. Very good. All right. So, will anybody want to add to that? Sandeep and Ejari have added their comments. Would anybody like to add to that? All right. So Sandeep said information word, very interesting word, very crucial word. He used information, and Nirjari used the word details. Right now, both these words are very important to their answers, because they're absolutely right when they said that in the previous brochure wala activity માં આપણે શું કર્યું કે આપણે ખાલી specific details ને ધ્યાનમાં રાખીને વાંચ્યું છે. The reading skills have happened taking into account only the specifics, the information, and we have done scanning. Right now, here this particular passage can also be converted into reading task, but here, as the theorist will call it, all right, the next slide I will go to. So as a theorist would call it, that this particular language in this particular paragraph is contrived. Now what do you mean by the word contrived? Contrived का मतलब क्या होता है कि वो बोलता है कि भाई जो लैंग्वेज तुमको ये पैसेज में दिखाई दी है वो contrived है. That is a theorist, Widdowson says कि भाई this is the language which is contrived. Contrived का मतलब होता है, क्या मतलब होता है, कोई guess कर सकता है? What is the meaning of the word contrived? It means it is fake. All right. So theorists say that this particular reading task would be fake. Which one? The previous passage that I made you read. Right. It does not seem natural at all, and we can go a step ahead, and he says that it has got all the linguistic data without being the language data. Now what does it mean? कि वो बोलते हैं कि ये जो पैसेज तो तुमने पढ़ा अभी वो लिंग्विस्टिक डेटा तो फुल ऑन दे रहा है. ओके, there is no grammatical error. It's an error free passage which can be used as a material, but the data, I mean, the linguistic data is without the language data. What it means is that though it has got the grammar, though it has got the syntax, though it has got the phonological structures, all things in place, but all things that you can only call linguistic perspective, वैसे linguistic perspective से ही वो data है अंदर. बाकी what it does not have is the language that the student would actually use in the real life conversations. Right? I had egg in my breakfast today. I ate egg in the breakfast yesterday. I am having, and I will be having. वो जो flow में जो sentences जा रहे थे, that is contrived language. That is a fake language, and it is not how the students talk in real life. That is what the theorists say. Okay. Generally, where we see such language, generally we have seen such language that is found in the grammar textbooks. Okay, the traditional grammar textbooks. So, wo theorists bolte कि this is not the kind of language that the students are looking at this stage and age, right? So that language is fake, not used in real life. So your students should not be used for the students to teach. Correct? One more step ahead, if we take, the theorists say that it is very difficult to imagine circumstances of the real world that would yield language like this, right? And this is not how people will talk. This is not how your students will talk or you will talk in the future, right? So even if someone were to encounter somebody who speaks like this, it will have a problem of intrinsic motivation. अगर तुमने ऐसा language use किया भी, तो वो intrinsic motivation पे बहुत impact करता है. Intrinsic motivation as in it will mar the motivation of the student, because the student finds it very repetitive, right? Very contrived, and it's fake. तो सुनने वाले का motivation अगर ऐसी language अगर अपने use करते हैं in our material or ourselves when we are talking, when they do not get to see what the real life communication is, then the motivation is zero. All right. So it is absolutely not impactful for your lectures that you give in the future. Right. So if you have such passages in the textbooks, their motivation to read will be completely lost, and hence it is like a it's a huge dent on the motivation part of the students, and that we have to be very much aware as teachers. Right. As to quote Bailey 91, there comes a time when the learner no longer wish to talk about fictitious Robinson family that lives nowhere in particular with a stupid dog and two boring children. ठीक है, तो ये theorists क्या बोल रहे हैं? What does this quotation mean? It basically means कि भाई all those traditional grammar textbooks where you find that story Ram and Shyam were friends, teachers who are not creative enough cannot bring they just cannot think out of the box, and hence are unable to go beyond that textbook, right? Once upon a time there was a village. ये सारे topics बहुत redundant हो गए, ठीक है? These are not the things that the students are looking for nowadays. And even if you were to choose a news article, तो news article अगर आप choose करते हो ना, तो that also can lend itself and become very interesting. But that is where your part as a teacher comes into play, that how well you can adapt that news article for it to become the authentic material in the context. All right. So moving on, before we actually go to authentic materials, I would like to start by defining. We can start by defining what is authenticity, right? Now, starting authenticity का मतलब क्या होता है? तो authentic का मतलब तो मेरे को पता चला अभी कि real, right? Which something that is not fake, right? So as I'll quickly go through a couple of definitions so that it gives you a theoretical definition of authentic material also. Greeks call it original, primary, at the first hand. All right. And dictionary definition is always this: not falsely occupied. Just give me a moment. Ma'am, I have a session going on. Could you please listen? Yeah, I'm sorry. So, definition wise, if we see it, it is the misrepresentation, right? So, not false occupied, genuine, real, veritable. ये सारे words हैं. Those are actually the synonyms for authentic, correct? And important part is that it has to be unquestionable. Having the origin of supported by unquestionable evidence, authenticated, verified, trustworthy or reliable. Students को वो trustworthy और reliable लगना चाहिए, ठीक है? Carried connotations of authoritative certification. उसका मतलब क्या होता है? कि what do you mean by it should carry, the material should carry the connotations of authoritative certification? उसका मतलब ये होता है that what it means is that language that is being taught in the classroom is the same as they would encounter outside in the real life, right? So can the student actually trust the language that you are giving them in the classroom? Can the student know from their facts and experiences that whatever that they are doing in the classroom is what they are going to do outside the classroom also? All right. Unless you have that is what they mean by saying authoritative certification. Unless students can trust that the language that you are giving them can be used for future purpose outside the classroom, you cannot call it authentic. All right. So one last interesting definition is this also, that authentic in the conventional sense is materials that are real and not produced for teaching and learning purposes, right? So as I think Nirjari pointed out, when I asked the definition of authentic, she was bang on. She said this only. उसका मतलब क्या है? Last line का मतलब क्या है? कि real and not produced for learning or teaching purposes. उसका मतलब ये है कि things which are available in the market but which are not produced for teaching. मतलब teaching करने के लिए वो बनाए नहीं गए, उसका sole purpose वो नहीं है, ठीक है? It is not your textbook. It is not something which is published for teaching purpose. Those things, if those things you are able to identify, and if those things you are able to convert as a teacher using your own creativity and your own ingenuity to convert them into language teaching, that is the simplistic definition of authentic material. So far so good. All right, so moving on. So there are a couple of more authors who have given this definition. If you go ahead and want to do more research or more detailed research in authentic materials, then Tomlinson says ordinary text not produced specifically for language learning, self-explanatory. Marako says this. Okay, so his hinting at the word real language, real speakers, real audiences, real messages. So real word पे जो उसने hit किया है, that means that it is something which is real and not fake, right? Tamo says about authentic material, and then Kilikaya says exposure to real language and its use in its own community. The community word is very important here. Community का मतलब क्या होता है? Community का मतलब होता है कि पूरा वो जो बच्चों को तुम पढ़ाने वाले हो और जो बच्चों की community है, वो बच्चों की community कौन सी है? So for example, if you get a job as a teacher or as a professor in an engineering college, so the community would be engineering fraternity. Okay, those all students will be from BTech engineering, would be all your budding engineers whom you are going to teach. So वो community किसकी हो जाती है? Engineering वालों की हो जाती है. Similarly, BBA student को पढ़ाने जाते हो, अगर तुमको undergraduate BBA में पढ़ाने को मिलता है, तो ये community ये business administration वालों की हो जाती है. You get this? So the whole concept of ESP comes into play. Now ESP का मतलब होता है English for specific purpose. कि भाई specific purpose for specific audience और specific language उसको use करना चाहिए, ठीक है? So if, for example, if I am teaching you guys traveling unit on traveling, ठीक है? So every word, every language that you use as an authentic material in the classroom should be relatable to the community of traveling. Okay. If you are an engineering student, then I would, if I am taking a class in a science and technology college to those students, then I might have to, मतलब आपके लिए मैं जो brochure first activity जो मैंने की आपके साथ, first 2 activities, what did I do? I just thought of this brochure which was mailed to me by Dodia sir as a part of, NV Bose sir as a part of this entire event, that the entire whole week workshop. I just thought of that to be converted into a worksheet. All right, a material which can be converted into a worksheet that students will be able to do. Now that what I did was also contextualizing. So community wise तुम्हारा जो contextualize करना है वो थोड़ा सोचना पड़ता है, ठीक है? So if I am going to for engineering students, then I might go with a brochure on machines और on its parts कि भाई एक फैन कैसे चलता है, उसके पुर्जे कैसे चलते हैं, उसके बारे में मैं ब्रोशर ढूंढूंगी और लेके जाऊंगी क्लासरूम में, अगर मैं साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी वालों को बच्चों को पढ़ाने वाली हूँ, ठीक है? मुझे वो उनकी कम्युनिटी को बिल्कुल रिलेट करता है, समझ में आ रहा है? So that is what these definitions talk about, these authors talk about, right? So again, and the last definition, Gilmore says that where does this where has the material come from? Right? Material, if it is published by OUP, Oxford ने publish किया है, Cambridge ने publish किया है, you cannot call it authentic, ठीक है? Because वो जो discourse है, वो उनकी जो textbooks में discourse है, जो material अपने refer करते हैं as teachers, वो discourse है, वो prepared speech में आता है, ठीक है? It is not real life examples, alright? So the context of its production is also very important, right? That is why CUP or OUP publication ho, they make books for reading or speaking because they want to sell it. Okay, it has a selling purpose. But on the other hand, the brochure activity that we did, the brochure which was created by our organization, by HMPIETR Institute, which we just did, the flyer which was created by them, the schedule which was created by them, was not intended to sell the language. ठीक है, वो उसका intention वो बिल्कुल ही नहीं था language को sell करना, ठीक है? But मैंने उसको change कर दिया, ठीक है? और मैंने उसको modify कर दिया और modify करके मैं classroom में वो task बना के लेके आ गई, ठीक है? So that is how we differentiate, and that is what is called authentic material. Okay, so that is the basic difference between authentic materials and general material. Okay, so to understand authentic materials further, we have to consider these 3 important keywords. All right. The authentic materials must be natural, the authentic materials must be in context, and the authentic material must be native speaker. Now these are the three important keywords that you will have to remember. Now natural तो अपने ने बहुत discuss कर लिया with those definitions and theoretical framework. और context का मतलब क्या होता है? तो context भी मैंने अभी आपको बताया that today I would have brought a news article, okay, in the first activity. मैं news article लेके आ सकती थी to show you how authentic material works, बराबर? But it does not fit into your context, immediate context, okay? Because we were part of the expert series, because this brochure has been doing the rounds in your community, right? I use the same brochure to convert that into an activity and teach you. समझ में आ रहा है? So that is the context that we are talking about. That context makes sense, all right? For engineering students, a brochure would be on engineering, okay? Similarly, BBA बच्चों को पढ़ाना है मुझे, तो मैं मशीन्स पे नहीं लेके जाऊंगी. मशीन्स पे लेके जाऊंगी तो फिर है ना, उसको कुछ समझ में नहीं आएगा और उसको कॉन्टेक्स्ट में बैठेगा ही नहीं. So he'll be disinterested, or he or she will be disinterested. So for BBA students, if I go ahead take up chips का पैकेट का रैपर, okay, चिप्स का पैकेट होता है, उसके पीछे जो लिखा होता है, मैगी के पैकेट के पीछे जो लिखा होता है, वो सारे पैकेट्स के रैपर्स लेके जाऊं मैं. So that would make sense. That would be in context with the BBA students, because these BBA students are learning marketing and sales. You understand, right? So the context in which the student is learning a language and how can, as a teacher, you can fit in the authentic material into it is something that you have to be aware about. All right. और नेटिव स्पीकर को एस्ट्रिक्स मैंने इसलिए मारा है because this is not the category that we must consider now, because now we have multiple varieties of language and all are naturally acceptable. You know, we have a pidgin variety, we have IRP, we have ARP, etc., etc. So they function, I mean, different varieties of language functions in different contexts. ठीक है? So we should not really hanker on the native speaker like variety. वो possible नहीं है. म्यूचुअल इंटेलिजिबिलिटी हो, समझ में आ गया, तुमने जो बोला सामने वाले को समझ में आ गया, आपका कम्युनिकेशन हो गया, दैट इज इम्पोर्टेंट. सो नेटिव स्पीकर वैरायटी पर हैंकर करने की जरूरत नहीं है. एज लॉन्ग एज द लैंग्वेज फिट्स इनटू द कॉन्टेक्स्ट विल डिसाइड हाउ नेचुरल इट इज, एंड दैट इज सम theoretical background that I wanted to give you about this. So there are three broad categories also from which you can select the authentic materials, from which you can adapt your authentic materials. All right. These three broad categories are audio, video, and print. Right. So those who will be going ahead and doing their PhDs or further studies in authentic materials could get into this. That there are a lot of broad categories. There are three categories mainly. So authentic materials, audios में क्या क्या include होता है? तो audios में ये सारी चीजें आप ले सकते हो. Songs, reports, speeches, interviews, TED talks. That you can adapt to it for it to become an authentic material. Visual, you can use pictures, YouTube videos, movie clippings. You know, there are certain websites also which are available where you can choose, storybird.com and booksy.com. And for under print category, you have these things where you can choose from your material. That is magazines, printed articles, newspapers, itineraries, invitation letters, brochures, flyers. All of this will become the print category, right? So this is how the three broad categories that you can choose from to come out with your own authentic material and the worksheet that you can take to the classroom. Okay? Now the next question is, why authentic materials? क्यों authentic materials को इतना importance क्यों? ठीक है? So there has to be something more, than when it comes to authentic materials. So why is it very important in ELT scenario? All right. I take a look at this diagram. Take a look at this. Now Gilmore has given this language classroom learning consequences of variance, support, and challenge. Now let us see this diagram. So Gilmore says any classroom teaching can fall into these four quadrants. ये चार quadrants के अंदर में any classroom teaching आ सकता है, ठीक है? Starting from from your left side, the effective learning quadrant, then minimal learning, then learner boredom and learner frustration. So कहने का मतलब है, if there is a high challenge, something that the students are struggling with, but from your side it's high challenge and low support. ठीक है? तो then the quadrant on the top right is what will happen to the student, that the students will get frustrated. All right. Similarly, if you go in quadrant number 2, that if there is low support and low challenge, then the learner will end up being bored. कि कोई सपोर्ट भी नहीं दे रहे एज अ टीचर, तुम कोई सपोर्ट भी नहीं दे रहे उनको, और एकदम लो चैलेंज है, उनके लिए कोई चैलेंज ही नहीं है, तो ऑब्वियसली लर्नर बोर हो जाएगा. सो दैट वुड बी लर्नर बोर्डम. देन इफ यू आर एबल टू गिव लो चैलेंज एंड हाई सपोर्ट, मतलब आपकी तरफ से फुल ऑन सपोर्ट आप दे रहे हो, बट जो टास्क का जो चैलेंज है वो बहुत ही लो है, तो उस सिनेरियो में the learning that will happen of the students will be bare minimum. It will be very minimalistic. All right, बहुत ही कम उनका learning होगा if there is low challenge and high support. Right, support wise you are giving all high support, but there is no point because minimal learning. So the most effective way for it to be a high challenge, high support and high challenge, then only the effective learning takes place. Right. So for it to be high challenge, it has to be something that can be applied in real life. Okay, that they can use later on also. Okay, one level above them. मतलब हमेशा याद रखना कि ऐसा टास्क बनाना है, ऐसा ऑथेंटिक मटेरियल को कन्वर्ट करना है कि उनके जो लेवल से है वो थोड़ा अबव जा सके. ठीक है. And when that happens, it is high challenge. So when you are able to convert a task into a high challenge, when are you going to when will you be able to do that? Once you change the level, cater to one step higher than what they presently are, and secondly that it can be applied to the real life. All right. So this is the theoretical framework. Now why the authentic material must be used? This is why it must be used for 3 reasons: authenticity, motivation, and creativity. Now what is authenticity? Now these are the few terms that you will have to just see, that unless presented in class, how will students perform outside? So authenticity का meaning भी अपने ने देख लिया, but we can see that low frequency words, syntactical ease बहुत होना चाहिए. Low frequency. So for example, in the first activity that you did you guys had to come up with a huge chunk of sentences to answer me? तुम लोगों को बहुत बड़े chunks of answers देने पड़े थे reading activity में, first activity में नहीं देने पड़े थे, right? तो तुमने जो बोला मुझे वर्ड्स दिए वो कितने थे? लो फ्रीक्वेंसी, राइट? तो सिंटैक्टिकल ईज हो गया, मतलब कि स्टूडेंट्स एकदम कंफर्ट जोन में है, उसको एकदम इजी पड़ रहा है कि भाई हाँ मुझे सिर्फ 1-2 वर्ड में आंसर देना है और मैं पूरी एक्टिविटी कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है. सो you have to be sure. So how do you be sure that yeah this is authentic and how I have converted well into? So you have to look into these factors as teachers, right? Sufficient practice मिल रहा है कि नहीं वो देखना है, and do not simplify authentic text also. All right. Then you have motivation. As you are all aware, we have to be also considering the affective reason. Affective reason matlab something which is affecting the motivation of the students, personal factors, subjective factors. That is, you have to use real language, real culture, genre variety, professional community. So just as I talked about context, you have to be keeping in mind the context, you have to be keeping in mind the culture from where the students come, you have to keep in mind the community from the student, where the students come from. Only then you can take that material to the classroom, where you can make it more relatable to the students and immediately relatable to your students. ठीक है, तो ही motivation रहेगा, वरना बिल्कुल नहीं रहेगा. ठीक है. And finally, creativity. Now, what is the point? So creativity is both for teachers as well as for students, right? Now, what is the point of being an English teacher, right? If you cannot do creative things like this, right? Otherwise, ready-made materials to available. Hey, ready-made materials are available for anybody to use, and anybody who has bare minimum knowledge of English. I mean, English is considered to be a very subject that can be taught by all and sundry. कोई भी आता है, कोई बैकग्राउंड नहीं होता ELT का और बोलते हैं हम अंग्रेजी के टीचर हैं. ठीक है, तो वो एकदम बेसलेस है. बट वो भी बोलते हैं कि they claim to be English teachers, right, or language experts, but they have no idea about ELT, or they have not done ELT or studied themselves. So that is where the problem lies. Okay, anybody can run the ready-made material, but ultimately क्या होता है, that is it is a creative stretch that you take as a teacher once in a while, that you have to do this and you have to use authentic material, and it will be helpful to you also as a teacher. All right. So I think I would end with the theoretical part of it. Now let me quickly go to the activity part now. Now I would like to give you a couple of examples before I end my session. So I'll just take 7 minutes more if that is okay with you guys, and then we will wind up. So just take a look at the activity now. Take a look at this. I hope the screen is visible. It's what is it on your screen right now?
Ticket from Ahmedabad to Kochi.
Absolutely. Now, take a moment, all of you, right? Think for 2 minutes and tell me if you were to convert this into an activity, right? A reading activity. Let's stick to reading. All right. What will you think as a teacher, and what will you come up with? Just roughly think about it and let me know. Okay? I'll give you 2 minutes to think about it. If you were to use a ticket to come up with a reading activity, this particular ticket, what will you do? Roughly, you can jot down on your paper, on a piece of paper that you can think of, and then you can share with your class, with the class. Take 2-3 minutes.
May I,
Yes.
ma'am?
2 minutes सबको सोचने दे, फिर you can
Okay.
start. Sandeep, it is right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. You can think more, okay? All right. Okay. Doesn't matter if you are not able to think also. Just share. Now, starting with Sandeep. Sandeep, could you please come up with something that can tell to your class, to me? कौन सी
Okay,
टाइप की
ma'am.
एक्टिविटी बना सकते हैं? रीडिंग एक्टिविटी की बात करें तो.
Yes. So, ma'am, we can frame such question based on the ticket. So,
Like what?
student, like what is the booking ID number? So
Very
students
good.
will look at in the ticket and answer the questions.
Very good. What else? What else? Go ahead. That is a
What
very
is
nice
the passenger's name?
answer. Nirjari, आपने बोला?
Yes, ma'am. What is the
हाँ.
passenger's name?
Right. Very good. What is the passenger name? Okay. Great. Any other question?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, yes, please go ahead. तुम्हारा ये discussion forum ही है. तुम एक के बाद एक बोलते जाओ. Yes.
Ma'am, actually this particular ticket can be used as a reading comprehension activity, and that can be called data interpretation or information transfer, whatever you can say. And it can be asked in that write down in 80 or 100 words, just transfer the information into words. So by that, not even we need to give them questions. So rather than to give them VSQs, we can have the answers and LQ.
Oh wow. Okay. So what's your name?
Siddharth, ma'am.
Siddharth. Okay. So Siddharth has a very interesting take on it. He says that okay, instead of giving pointed questions, you can always convert it into a writing task. All right. So he is talking about transferring of the information, but in a paragraph format. Is that right, Siddharth?
Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other answer? Any other answer before I conclude? Any other type of activity can think of? So Nirjari, Siddharth, as well as Sandeep are absolutely correct in having this questions. Such questions you can form. Okay, variety may you can always ask them to write a paragraph. right? So how long is the flight? So top right पे उनको देखना पड़ेगा. How many people are traveling? All right, questions like these. How many people are traveling? One person is traveling, right? Is this person rich or poor? Tell me. Is this person rich or poor? How do you gauge that? How do you guess that?
I think ma'am poor.
Because he's good. But
Economy ticket.
Ah, correct. Very good. Economy ticket लिखा है ना? ठीक है. So obviously we can gauge that. Okay, he's not very rich, right? So economy लिखा है इसलिए. Is the ticket new current ticket or the old ticket? तो क्या देखना पड़ेगा स्टूडेंट को? Is it a new ticket or an old ticket? डेट देखना पड़ेगा ना. 1 अगस्त 2019 का टिकट है, ठीक है. So कहने का मतलब है that teachers have to be really careful to understand that the student understands that this particular ticket is a flight ticket. Okay, this particular ticket is a flight ticket, that student must understand. So that is the context also. Okay, if we take one more a step ahead. All right, take a look at this ticket. Now one more ticket I've given. So now if you have these two tickets in your hand, other than what Nirjari, other than what Sandeep, other than what Siddharth said, can you come up with something else in terms of activity? दूसरे कौन से टाइप के? रीडिंग पे स्टिक करो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, बट कुछ और सोचो.
Ma'am, can I?
Yes.
Ma'am,
There are two different tickets, okay? पहली टिकट आपने देखी,
yes,
अभी देख सेकंड. हाँ.
writing activity they can do in which the teacher can give them a task like share your flight experience.
Very good. Okay, very good. Share your flight experience. Your flight experience. All right. All right. Okay. Is it Nirjari again?
Madam.
No, ma'am. This it's Vidushi.
Hello, ma'am.
Vidushi, yeah. Vidushi, very interesting take. You are saying that flight, you have to write about your experience, flight experience. All right. Yeah, somebody interrupted. Who is that? Next person?
Yes, ma'am. Shaunak here, madam.
Shaunak. Shaunak, boliye.
Teacher can give activity like difference between two tickets.
There you go. Very good, Shaunak. Yeah. What? How?
The company of flight, ticket number, date of ticket, destinations.
Absolutely. So Shaunak and Vidushi has hit the right button here. That when we have two such tickets in our hands, so as a teacher, so for example, if I have a class of 20 students, the first 10 students I am giving the first ticket, and the next 10 students I am giving the second ticket. All right. Now in pairs, I ask them to compare and contrast. So compare and contrast, as Shaunak rightly pointed out, can be a very good task to create, and you are sticking to reading also, right? So what is going different in each ticket? Each pair has to compare and contrast. You get this? So it could be, and as Vidushi pointed out, that it could be an exploratory kind of an activity also. Whether this Shankar Pillai person is going for a recreational activity to Kerala. वो केरला कितने दिन के लिए जा रहे हैं? देखो, फर्स्ट टिकट देखो और सेकंड टिकट देखो. फिर सेकंड टिकट में क्या है? कोची टू अहमदाबाद वापस जा रहे हैं, ठीक है, 6 अगस्त को. जब जा रहे थे कौन सा अगस्त था? 1 अगस्त और 6 अगस्त. So from that you can always have this guessing work going, that okay, whether that person has gone for a recreational purpose or a longer duration or a shorter duration, right? So it could be a writing task where you are asking students to write a diary entry for Shankar Pillai, right? So what Vidushi pointed out, that maybe your flight experience as to how you experienced the entire, where did you go, how did you go, right? And what was the experience? So the diary entry, जो अपनी diary लिखते हैं, so it can become a writing task also. Okay, very good. All right, moving on to the next one. This is on your screen, the Netflix subscription. Netflix का जो subscription होता है ना, उसके rates दिए गए हैं, right? Now just think for a minute and think about what kind of an activity. This is the authentic material that has come your way. What kind of an activity we can think of? I mean, it could be a very good reading activity. But can you think of something for a speaking activity through this? Take a couple of minutes, 2 minutes to think. Can you think of any speaking activity using this particular material?
What would be the monthly price of premium?
Okay, so no, as an activity, what are you saying? How will you execute? I mean, how will you put it to your students?
May I,
In
ma'am?
question answer.
Question answer format. Okay, so you are
Ma'am.
asking questions and they are answering in one word. That would be more of a reading activity. But yeah, orally when you are taking the class, it could become speaking. But the students are using only one word. All right. Okay, scanning. Yes. Sandeep, were you saying something?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I will call 2 students on stage, and I will say one student to speak question, and I will give the ticket to both the students, and one student will ask some questions based on ticket, and another students will answer the questions.
Okay, nice. Okay. So what Sandeep said that it could be a speaking activity in form of students being called in pairs on the stage, and Netflix subscription is given to both. One person asks questions, second one answers. Okay. Okay. So again, a lot of scanning is taking place by the student to answer the questions. Very good. What else? Any other answer? Any other thought process? Anybody can take a chance. So for speaking activity also, this Netflix subscription is a great authentic material. See, so for example, yes, who is that?
Anand, Anand.
Anand, boliye.
Okay, I will divide the class in 2 groups. The one group will have money, and other group will have passive. One group will say, "I have okay, I have this much money. Can I have Ultra HD availability?" So the student from other group will answer. So it's like a communication with interaction.
Very good, very good. So here, what you are saying is that I was also about to say only. Very good. So for example, discussion activity, right? That you are trying to. So for example, there are 4 sales people among the entire class जो तुम्हारा भी है, उसमें से मैंने 4 लोगों को select किया, 4 students को select किया, और 4 packages दे दिए. ठीक है? कि package number 1 mobile, package number 2 basic is of Sandeep, standard is of Anand, and premium is by Vidushi. You are the sales people. Now you have to sell that package to me. I am the customer. Now you convince me what to go for, which package to go for. समझ में आया? So there a lot of debate is happening. मैं as a teacher मैं लड़ा रहा हूँ students को कि standard और premium वाले लड़ पड़ सकते हैं. ठीक है? I am making people at loggerheads. Those 4 people at loggerheads because they are trying to sell a package to me as a customer and they have to convince me to buy one. ठीक है? So I can end up having this standard और premium वालों को लड़ा सकते हो तुम, mobile और basic वालों को लड़ा सकते हो तुम. ठीक है? So it can become a very debate kind of an activity also. Arguments that you can have about this activity. Similar example, discussion activity. So for example, friend का birthday है, because you have to give situation also, right? Friends का वही 4 friends को जो मैंने अभी ये packages दिए थे, वही 4 friends एक birthday present खरीदने जाते हैं for a 5th friend, और birthday present में वो लोग Netflix subscription उसको दे रहे हैं birthday present. ठीक है? So वो 4 friends discuss कर रहे हैं उनका budget. Say for example, as a group discussion activity, they are discussing the budget that they have only 630 rupees in their hand right now. Their budget is 630, and this is the subscription plan that they have, and they are deciding which gift, what to gift him, right? About the subscription, right? So whether they will be willing to add more to it, 100 more to it, and make it premium, or whether they will go for basic one. So that could be a very interesting discussion speaking activity also among the 4 friends. You get this? You understand this? And finally, one more example. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. Honest pav bhaji. ये honest का brochure है. ठीक है? think of a speaking activity which can be created. One, quickly, because I think I will overshoot some time. Just 5 more minutes. Yes.
Yeah, I can create the actual situation in a restaurant. There are becomes waiter.
Could you please hold your mic properly because you are not audible, and be a little louder.
Okay, ma'am, I can create the actual situation of a restaurant in a classroom where one a student can become a waiter and others are to eat there. So they ordered some food items from the menu.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what you're saying that is a role play kind of an activity, right? Is this Sandeep or who is this?
Yes, yes, Anand.
Sandeep. Anand, very good. So yeah, so Anand comes up with a very interesting aspect that a role play situation can be created. That students are made waiters, students are made customers, and they come into this thing, and then they start talking about what to order, right? Okay, very good. So that could be a brilliant speaking activity that can be created. Same, चार birthday जो birthday party throw करने वाले थे, अब वो birthday party मांग रहे हैं उसके friend की जिसकी birthday थी, और वो friend का birthday party में आए हैं और यहाँ पे लेके आया है और ये लोग discuss कर रहे हैं. So that role play can be created, right? Do you take a closer look at this brochure once again, right? And give me if there are certain problematic situations you find which are unusual. थोड़ा बहुत unusual लग रहा है तुमको ये brochure में, कोई ऐसी कोई hints हैं पूरे menu में, from the entire menu, take a closer look. Do you think that there is some problem or some weird thing that you don't understand?
Ma'am, hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
The price is given in
Hello, madam.
dollars. That is.
Yeah, very good. Nirjari, is it Nirjari?
Yes, ma'am.
So Nirjari is absolutely right, saying that the prices here are given in dollars. तो उसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Anyone? Yeah, somebody was saying something. Sandeep or I think Anand. So pricing is a problem.
No,
here.
no, madam.
Yes, yes.
No,
please
I was
continue.
going to say same thing, madam.
Same thing.
You
Okay,
continue,
okay.
please.
All right. So कहने का मतलब क्या हुआ कि भाई most of the prices that are written is in dollars. So the menu that is taken, this particular menu which is taken, is from Honest USA. Honest जो USA में है वहां से लिया गया है, ठीक है? तो मतलब this may create a problem for the students as they would not understand कि भाई cheese and dosa cannot be 8 रुपए में मिलता कहाँ है cheese dosa, ठीक है? So that figure in itself can create a problem for the students, correct? It can be problematic. तो तुमने as a teachers एक मेनू ढूंढा ऑनेस्ट का, तुमको जो फर्स्ट मिला तुमने लेके डाल दिया, ठीक है? But you have to understand that this would be confusing and these one add to the problematic situations in terms of student understanding. All right, because it's actually the US example. Okay, so for example, if अगर मेरे को ये होटल मैनेजमेंट वालों को पढ़ाना हो और होटल मैनेजमेंट वालों के साथ कोई एक्टिविटी करानी हो लैंग्वेज वाइज, तो मैं ये लेके जा सकती हूँ, राइट? तो क्या क्या इसमें हो सकता है अपार्ट फ्रॉम द रोल प्ले, अपार्ट फ्रॉम द प्राइसिंग, राइट? प्राइसिंग इज इन डॉलर्स. Then there is something written in Amul butter. So Amul पे highlight है, cooked in Amul butter. Then there is one line about olive oil option is available. Okay, at bottom. Then you have the food allergy warning. Now all of this, the food allergy, olive oil option, cooked in Amul butter, stressing on Amul butter, all of this is a very, very American way. So if you have to teach the culture, American culture, to the hotel management students, this could become a brilliant material which can be used for different types of activities. You get this, right? So it's a very, very American way of doing it, right? So I think I would just this was a couple of examples that I wanted to share with you. So finally, I would end my session with the 3 framework. All right, 3 particular framework. That's very simple framework. 3 things we have to remember. That in the last part, there are four things in this framework. That is, your authentic materials have to have content suitability, exploitability, readability, and presentation. ठीक है? तो content suitability का मतलब क्या होता है? तो this is the simple framework, four pillars of the simple framework on which your authentic materials hinges, right? text that I select would interest the students or not. कि जो मैंने text select किया है, जो मैंने material select किया है, वो उनको students को interest पड़ता है कि नहीं, right? That has to be thought through by the teacher. Okay. Secondly, do a needs analysis. So content suitability would also involve needs analysis. Needs analysis का मतलब क्या होता है कि see if the students की नीड को सूट करता है कि नहीं. अगर मैं वो होटल मैनेजमेंट वालों को बच्चों को ना, तो दैट विल बी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. बट वही ब्रोशर मैं कोई इंजीनियरिंग स्टूडेंट्स के लिए लेके जाऊं, okay, so then it might not be becoming interesting. The same menu that I showed to you of honest to the engineering students will not make sense. Why? Because the context, the suitability is not there. Unless until ना मेरा beginners level का FY का क्लास है, फर्स्ट ईयर का क्लास है, और मैं ये एक्टिविटी एक सोशल एक्टिविटी के तौर पे करवा रही हूँ, तो चलता है, ठीक है. बट कंटेंट सुटेबिलिटी अगर हायर लेवल पे करवा रहे हो, एडवांस लेवल पे करवा रहे हो, इंजीनियरिंग स्टूडेंट्स को करवा रहे हो, तो तुम ये मेनू लेके नहीं जा सकते. समझ में आया? सो इफ आई टेक अ ब्रोशर ऑफ हाउ द फैन वर्क्स टू अ बीबीए स्टूडेंट, अगर एक मशीन कैसे काम करती है, ऐसा ब्रोशर बीबीए स्टूडेंट को मैं लेके नहीं जा सकती. सो दैट इज व्हाट वी से इज कंटेंट सुटेबिलिटी. ओके. then is its exploitability. Now exploitability का मतलब है can this be used for teaching or not? There are ample materials available across in and around you, right? कुछ भी material में convert कर सकते हैं, but you have to really think कि can I exploit it? Can it be used for teaching? Because since it is not meant for teaching, जो भी material तुम्हारे आजू बाजू है, जैसे फोन के पीछे जो बैटरी पे एक स्ट्रिप लगाया हुआ है, that can become the material, right? But it is not meant for teaching. It is not meant to be used as material. So skimming ho, scanning ho, the first task that we did was skimming and scanning, right? Can be expanded into pure activity. अभी जो फ्लाइट टिकट का देखा, वो स्कैनिंग सेम स्पीकिंग में भी यूज कर सकते हो, तो वो मैंने एक्सप्लॉइटेबिलिटी देखो. डायरी एंट्री जो विदुषी ने बोला, राइट, पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करो, शंकर पिल्ले का एक्सपीरियंस, राइट. सो दैट कुड बिकम अ राइटिंग टास्क. सो दैट इज व्हाट you have to think of strategies that you can cover, that you would be able to employ and exploit. That is called exploitability. All right. Finally, reading and presentation. Now, reading is again very easy. कि भाई तुम्हारा जो भी authentic material होता है, it should not be very heavy, content heavy, nor it should be heavy to understand. It should be very simplistic in nature. It should be easily understandable to your audience. Correct? So easy content, content भी easy होना चाहिए उसका, और less is more actually. And finally, the presentation wise, presentation, does it look authentic or not, right? So the first question is, if I had not started, first मैंने session की शुरुआत कैसे की थी? If I had not started with the brochure of HM Patel Institute, right, and simply orally told you about all these things about authentic material, you would not remember. तुमको याद ना रहेगा, ठीक है? But now you remember. What do you remember the most? You remember the brochure. You remember the image of that entire brochure, right? That is the attraction. That is the visual learning in itself, right? Which is authentic. ठीक है? तो मेनू जैसे मेनू देखा, मेनू इतना अट्रैक्टिव नहीं था क्योंकि वो बहुत कंटेंट हैवी था, उसमें बहुत सारा कंटेंट डाला गया था, इसलिए, ठीक है? बट नेटफ्लिक्स प्लान वाज वेरी नीट. ओके. सो that is what we are talking about presentation. So these are the 4 pillars or the 4 simplistic framework that you have to keep in mind when you talk about authentic materials. All right. Now at the end, I would just leave you. I would want you to do the activity on your own at your own convenience. I would like to leave you with that. Try out with your friends whenever you get an opportunity, because now it will not be possible in the scope of this lecture because I've already overshot the time. But the activity is, don't go beyond 5 feet. Make yourself a center. Don't go beyond 5 feet. Make radius 5 feet जितना बना दो. And आपके radius 5 feet के radius में जो भी authentic material आप find कर पा सकते हो, okay, convert that into a reading activity. All right. So that is the activity I think I would like to leave you with. And you may. Now I end my presentation, and the house is open for questions. If there are any questions, please, I'm ready to answer. With this, I come to the end of the session. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Hello? No questions?
Students, if you have any question, you can ask right now.
not just the questions, any comments, I want your feedback. I mean, any comments that you would want to give. Did you understand what is authentic material today?
Yes, ma'am, it was awesome. We could understand everything. Like the activities were also very interesting because it was a bit easier. So we enjoyed the session. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much. So, sir, Doria sir, Manu sir, with this I come to the end of the session for today. And I once again thank HM Patel Institute of English Training and Research for giving me this opportunity, especially Dr. N.B. Bose sir, and all the organizers including Mayur sir, Doria sir, Manu sir, for giving me this opportunity to interact with the students of HM Patel. Thank you very much, sir.
Wait a minute, Mamta. Good
Yes.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Mayur sir, how are you?
I'm fine. It's great to see you after a long period of time. I guess it has been 5 years back that we met. Nitin.
No. Recently, 2 years back when I came for the workshop.
Okay. I'm now. So,
Atanu
yeah,
sir,
it has a.
Atanu sir had come that time. That time I was there, and we
I'm here to formally propose the vote of thanks. Give me a minute. Mamta, it was really a wonderful session. I must say that you exploited authentic materials so authentically, and you made this session so authentic that I don't have authentic words to express how the session on authentic session was. And yes, it was really very much live. I really appreciate. I can see the type of hard work you have put in, the way you exploited our own materials, and you presented a live demo of exploiting things around us. That was really nice. And what I liked more was the interaction you had with the students. It was not a one-way session. It was live. You were asking, you were constantly engaging students. The rapport was built really well. And let me bring it to the notice of the entire audience that today the level of participation was highest. So far, whatever sessions have happened today in Sulba Madam's class and in your class, the level of participation is at peak. So thank you very much, Mamta, for accepting our invitation at a very short notice. You are an HMPN, and once an HMPN is always a champion. You are part of our team, and we'll be after you. We are not going to leave you. जाने नहीं देंगे तुम्हें. Okay?
कहीं नहीं जाना सर, यही है. आप जब बोला वहाँ से हो जाएंगे.
That's so nice of you, and thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.
I must appreciate the efforts, the participation shown by Nirzari, Sandeep, Siddharth, Shaunak, Vidushi, Anand. So all these participants are also quite live. And thank you all. Thank you IQSC for organizing such a wonderful, authentic event. That's all from my side. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all for joining in today. And I hope to see you maybe in the future. Thank you all.